Well, this is awkward. They made beef with no beef. They made corn with a Q. Guys, in 2023, Netflix released Beef to an explosion of critical acclaim. It swept award seasons, #1 spot for weeks on end. It was a success. So naturally, Netflix decided to do another season. 3 years later, when nobody cares anymore. And upon its release, there was a massive drop in viewership compared to season 1, because, again, it's been 3 years. Nobody cares anymore. And then critical reception also saw a slight decline, and that got me interested. I enjoyed season 1, though it did get a little goofy towards the end. But I was ready for another round where a petty argument escalates until everybody's lives are ruined, because I am so petty. But instead, they made beef without the beef. Like they made beef without the meat. I would even call it the White Lotus. Staff Edition. That's right. For the second season of Beef, we follow two couples who work at a country club full of wealthy people. Two couples who exist on opposite sides of the same side of the horrible coin that is capitalism. Beef Season 2 is the story of how the pursuit of financial stability and success in a capitalist hellscape can make or break relationships. There is a conflict between these two couples that kickstarts the story, but the rest of the season becomes less about the rivalry between them and more about relationships withering away under the crushing weight of capitalism. Don't worry though, I watched it all, so you don't have to. And I'm going to tell you all about it right after you subscribe down below, because it's free and it helps the channel, and dare I say, you're so stunning when you do it. All the things we're never going to have. So we got our two couples. First, we got Austin and Ashley, young kids. She's 26, he's 29. They're building their lives together. They've been together for a year and a half, and they both work at the Monte Vista Point Country Club. Joshua and Lindsay, the other couple, have been together for a decade. Josh is the general manager of said country club, and Lindsay is his dutiful wife who has helped in the recent renovations of this place. And we're at a pivotal moment in the story because the country club has just changed owners, and the new owner is Chairwoman Park, a billionaire from South Korea. And though they present a happy facade to the public, Josh and Lindsay aren't happy. He's under immense pressure to get his contract renewed now that the owner is different, but Lindsay feels like their lives are being wasted because all of their goals have not been met. They're still stuck in the same place they were when he started working for this country club. She kind of just wants out. Also, their sex lives are a disaster. Lindsay keeps a Rolodex of men she might one day have an affair with just as a second option, and Josh is addicted to pornography. And he also has accumulating debt, which was started when his mom was sick, and she gave him all of her inheritance money to pay for his mom's medical bills. Healthcare once again destroying the lives of Americans. Hey, yeah, that sucks. And Austin and Ashley are like polar opposites, right? Because Lindsay and Josh are nearing a divorce, nearing an implosion of their relationship, whereas Austin and Ashley are just so madly in love. They never argue. She has abandonment issues, and he has difficulty confronting negative emotions. And one night, after a fundraising event, Josh and Lindsay get into it. They start arguing aggressively. Unbeknownst to them, Austin and Ashley show up to return a wallet, but instead hear the fight, film the fight, and then run away. And the fight is really fucking ugly. Both couples decide to mind their own business, sort of, but Austin feels like Lindsay might be in trouble. So the day after, he goes visit her and offers help to get her out of the situation if she needs help. That prompts Josh to try and bribe Ashley for her silence at work to avoid a scandal. And things only get worse when Chairwoman Park gets to the country club, looks at the renovations, and says she hates it all and wants everything redone by someone else.
She finds it all very colonial.
Thank you so much.
She does not like colonial.
And Josh ditches his wife's vision so quickly. He's like, yeah, of course, we're not married to any of this. We'll change it. And she realizes, damn, he's always going to put his work before her. My favorite part is when Chairwoman Park's translator tells her they're currently not saying anything worth translating. Ashley then ends up in the hospital with abdominal pain, only to find out that she has an ovarian cyst that is twisting her ovary. Luckily, her ovary detorsed on its own. But this could happen again, and if the ovary doesn't detorse in the future, it could cut blood circulation and be fatal. So she needs surgery. Problem is, she has no health insurance. Again, America ruining people's lives for no reason. Oh no, wait, the reason is to fund wars and kill people overseas. Got it. They're in a tough spot and they realize the system is designed to keep them down, to keep them unhappy and miserable, and they want to game the system. And then Ashley, upon rewatching the video she filmed the night before, has an idea. So they show up at Josh and Lindsay's doorstep. A new starting for future desires. Straight away, there's a stark contrast between these couples. Austin and Ashley have this nervous, unsure energy about them, whereas Josh and Lindsay present themselves with this quiet confidence. Austin and Ashley are there to get Ashley a promotion, but Josh says respectfully she is exactly where she should be because she doesn't have a college degree.
Maybe there'll be a motel in the area that's willing to hire someone without a high school diploma.
Lindsay's also really fun because she says things like, I'm just trying to understand the machinations of your decision. There's absolutely no reason why I should know any of that. And they practically laugh in Austin and Ashley's face until Ashley pulls up the video and shows them the footage that they have, which is a lot worse than they thought. So they get Ashley a promotion to manager, $45K a year, plus health insurance and 10 days PTO. Sorry, nervously laughs in European. What do you mean 10 days is a victory? Like the whole year? You get to take 10 holidays, like 10 days. That's like 2 weeks out of the year. Josh is happy with how things went. He gave her a promotion. He's going to make her sign the contract, have her delete the video, and that's it. Whereas Lindsay thinks, no, they're going to keep this video and they're going to keep blackmailing us in the future for any time they need something from us. So she suggests that Josh could simply quit his job and they could sell the house and downsize and start fresh, but he kind of evades this conversation because he doesn't want to leave his job. The day after, Josh has to fire someone to make room for Ashley, and she shows no remorse. In fact, she wants to work. She wants to have orientation day and she wants to sign all of these invoices, but Josh just wants her to delete the video and sit in her office and shut the fuck up. He's like, you don't have to work, okay? You made your point. You've got your salary, your health insurance. Just delete the video and leave me alone. Lindsay, meanwhile, is struggling to fit in with the rich women at the club because, unlike them, Lindsay's not rich. Feeling inadequate in her life, in her marriage, and everything, she flirts with Whoosh, a tennis coach who has been flirting with all the women at this country club. And she even tries to get a discounted rate at this luxury clinic in Korea that can get her all fixed up. And when she fails to secure the discounted rate, she threatens Whoosh with sexual harassment allegations to force him to get her the discounted rate. And it works. She also gives all these rich women Ashley's number so they can use her as a personal assistant, a petty move that literally goes nowhere in the entire season. And you keep waiting for the next petty action to escalate the conflict between the two couples, but no, the show is not interested in escalating the conflict between the couples. It's interested in deteriorating each of their relationships. It's like watching your friends be messy. Things between Austin and Ashley aren't good because she's super stressed and worried about their financial future, and he's giving water to a fly that fainted. That's what he does during jump scare. Selena Gomez's husband is here. Michael Phelps is there too. And later we get a cameo from Phineas as well, playing himself. And Josh gets a reality check. Though he hangs out with all of these wealthy men at this country club, he's not one of them. He is still the server. He is still the one who brings them their drinks, who has to make small talk so they don't kick him out of the room. He has to stay humble and know his place. Ashley, businesswoman that she is, whilst assisting chairwoman Park and her translator Eunice, decides to pitch Austin as a physical therapist for the country club, even though he's not a physical therapist and you need a license to practice physical therapy. So Austin has to forge his license, which he's not a fan of because he's super honest and feels super guilty about doing bad things. You know, he gave a fainted fly some water. But Ashley is more ruthless and mentions she still has the video and they can basically have Josh do whatever the fuck they want. Right. So Ashley is slowly evolving into an evil cunt. And then Josh, reckless that he is, gets high and drunk and has an idea. Embezzlement. He realizes the only people that mail invoices is himself, and now an overpaid, underqualified intern, Ashley. She is the perfect scapegoat for them to steal money from the club so they can start a bed and breakfast, and then if anything happens, they can just pin it all on Ashley. The increasing flimsiness of any certainties about the future. Austin arrives at Chairwoman Park's residence to do a trial session as a PT, but she gets a call from her husband. Dr. Kim, a surgeon who has a hand tremor but refuses to stop working because he has a prenup with Chairwoman Park. And he's calling her because he just killed a patient on the operating table because his hand is not steady. So Chairwoman Park flies to Korea to cover up the death. And that leaves Eunice in charge of trialing Austin to see if he's a good fit for the club or not. And they have a lot of chemistry. He doesn't tell Ashley what happened because he fears that she will be jealous, and she decides to invite Eunice for a lunch so they can get some insider information and see if he's gonna get the job or not. So they go for lunch, and that's when Ashley becomes insecure. She sees Austin and Eunice bonding over the fact that they are both Korean. She even makes a tone-deaf comment. It's funny. I've never even really considered us like a mixed race couple. You know, he's Arizonian to me. Girl, what are you? What do you? She sat at that fucking table and really said, I don't see color. Well, they get home and they argue again because Austin doesn't feel comfortable lying about having a PT license. So he asks her to retrieve the license and he's going to rescind his application for the job. So he speaks to Eunice and he rescinds his application, but he also wants to help out as much as possible. So he mentions these weird invoices that Ashley had at home that may be worth looking into. Somehow in the conversation, she manages to convince him to stay and to go through with a PT application. And he's not worried because at this point, he might not even need the license, because he's feeling Eunice. And on the other side of the same side of this capitalistic coin, we've got Josh and Lindsay, who decide to take a day off to go visit this bed and breakfast that a gay couple opened up looking for inspiration for their own bed and breakfast. And they get there and find out that the couple had $20 million to open this bed and breakfast and realize that they don't have the funds to do any of their big life plans that they were planning to plan and do. So they reconsider Josh extending his contract at the park, and she proposes a business venture to Whoosh. She can get women from this country club to sign up to treatments at this clinic in Seoul, and in return, she gets a small commission. The same clinic where Chairwoman Park's husband, Dr. Kim, killed a patient. And Whoosh says no. Chairwoman Park needs to cover up her husband's murder, and she's been bribing people up and down at that clinic. Unfortunately, it might not be enough, and authorities might start asking more questions, even approaching Eunice and Whoosh at the club, and that could present itself a problem. So they need to establish a very healthy flow of cash between the clinic and the club. So they announce an investment of $50 million into the country club, and Austin is announced as a full-time club PT and consultant for the wellness center they're planning on building. And Ashley notices how Austin is looking at Eunice during the entire announcement. She's so jealous. So she confronts him in the car. She's like, I can't believe they hired you. You have no qualifications. And he's angry, like, why can't you just be happy for me? And she says, I will, as long as you can assure me that you're not into Eunice. And he can't say he's not because he is. So she calmly jumps out of a moving car, then walks away, trips, and falls down a cliff. Oh, the comfort, the inexpressible comfort. Austin and Ashley go to the hospital, and it's absolute chaos once again, healthcare ruining Americans' lives. Ashley is hurt from the fall, but she also has intense abdominal pain, probably from her torsed ovary. So Austin goes and gets her a drink, but he's unable to stand up to anyone. He literally gives the only drink that she asked him to a stranger at the vending machine because the stranger was insisting she wanted that drink. And so afraid of confrontation, he's not even able to say no. So like he has some difficulty putting her first. And while he's gone, Ashley notices a text from Eunice pops up on his phone. Don't do it, Ashley. Don't do it, Ashley. Don't. She does it. She texts Eunice pretending to be Austin and then realizes, wait a minute, Austin's going to come back and he's going to see these texts. So I'm going to ask her to not text me back. Then I'm going to delete all the texts and the history of deleting the texts. And that should be fine, right? Well, Josh shows up. See, Eunice told Chairwoman Park that Ashley and Austin were in the hospital, and Chairwoman Park told Josh to go help them. So he's there to help, and he offers to get Ashley seen by a close friend of his, a doctor, if she deletes the backup videos. And she refuses once again. She swears up and down that she doesn't have any backup videos. So he leaves her there, at the mercy of public health care. Is it public if people have to pay out of their own pocket after? Can you consider? No, it's not, right? It's not. No. Ashley ends up fainting, and they take her in and they run some tests. They run a scan and find out there's nothing wrong with her. Everything seems fine, and it's probably just some gas or bloating. Yeah, doctors not taking their patients seriously because they don't believe the patients are in enough pain. And the patient is a woman. Wow. Austin leaves the room thinking that his fiancée lied and exaggerated the pain just so she could have an excuse not to talk about things. And then he finds out that she texted Eunice without him knowing. And before he can confront her, she gets taken in for emergency surgery because it turns out not everything was fine. She wakes up and the doctor that Josh knows is there and tells her that unfortunately the scan showed everything fine because her ovary had twisted all the way through that it was showing normal in the scans again. And it cut the circulation to the ovary, and unfortunately they had to remove it. That sends her into a bit of a depression. And then days later, Josh sends her a text that says, "Heard you met David. You're welcome." Furious, Ashley decides to mess with them. So she sneaks into their place right after they leave the house for the day. And the thing about Josh and Lindsay is they have this little dog, a wiener dog called, and I'm not even joking, Burberry. Ashley sneaks into the house and takes some pictures of the shady invoices that she had noticed before, and then puts some of her blood in their orange juice and sneaks back out. Except on her way out, she forgets to close the door, and the dog, Burberry, sneaks out. I am killing my flesh without it. Josh and Lindsay notice Burberry is gone. And while they're out looking for him, they get a call from a vet who found the dog. They rush to the vet, all happy and relieved when they realize that's not their dog. No, that's another wiener dog. Get that dog away from us. And then the vet guilt trips them into adopting this dog, otherwise the dog is gonna die at the end of the day. Lindsay is absolutely devastated, whereas Josh seems a bit more clinical. And then they argue over who left the door open, because when the dog is gone missing, the important thing is to determine who we should blame. Yeah, instead of finding the dog, it's let's argue and see whose fault it was. Burberry has never not sprinted to the door, so obviously I assumed he was with you. Not so. Top Gun Maverick, hello? Do you not remember coming home late to Burberry, sound asleep in his bed with his monkey? I even took a picture. I think I have it. First of all, that was Bullet Train. I didn't get to see Top Gun Maverick at the theater because you had COVID. I knew you'd hold this against me.
I got COVID at your stupid fucking mezcal night.
Clearly, they've been together for a long time and know how to prioritize what's important. Josh ends up storming out to focus on work, and Lindsay resumes her search for Burberry. One of the rich members, Troy, invites Josh to his ski chalet in Utah, and they go on his private jet. So while Josh parties in this ski chalet with the band Hot Chip, Lindsay bumps into Austin and Ashley, and after explaining what happened, Ashley gets a sudden bout of guilt and offers to help her. And they end up talking and bonding and actually enjoying each other's company.
I totally get, being overwhelmed when you lose something important.
And that night, Lindsay ends up finding Burberry in the woods in the mouth of a coyote. She kills the coyote and rushes Burberry to the vet. But unfortunately, Burberry doesn't make it. And Josh gets there, they're both in tears, and decide, unfortunately, that they need a divorce. And by the end of the episode, Josh finally drinks the orange juice with Ashley's blood. Those blue remembered hills. After agreeing to get a divorce, Josh and Lindsay start splitting the assets in their divorce agreement. But Lindsay is afraid that Josh might fuck her over because he still hasn't signed the extended contract that Chairwoman Park has offered him. Meanwhile, Austin and Ashley get a bill from the doctors and realize that even with health insurance, they have to pay $27,000. What do you mean? They talk about how they have a $5,000 deductible. And I honestly don't know what that means or how that works. I don't think they know how that works either, because they debate over what it means, but they don't know. $27K after insurance. Y'all, just 2 years ago, I had a medical emergency problem, and I had to have, in the space of 2 months, 4 emergency surgeries. Do you know how much I had to pay for those 4 emergency surgeries? Nothing. I already pay taxes. It's crazy. $27,000 for a life-threatening problem that could have killed? Don't piss me off. The concept of forcing people to go broke over minor medical problems and then also allowing anyone and everyone to have guns freely, that is a big recipe for disaster. You make your population sick and angry, and then you give them guns and tell them that it's in the name of freedom. Does anyone else see what's wrong in that system? It's crazy. She then does the daily ritual of going through his entire phone because she doesn't trust him, and he lets her. And this relationship, wow, it's thriving. Unfortunately for Chairwoman Park, they still need more cash flow between the clinic and the country club to continue bribing their way into this cover-up being successful. So they announce a new collaboration between the country club and the clinic. Employees will be able to sell the packages to the clients, and any deal that they close will get them 10% commission. So like the idea that Lindsay gave Whoosh that Whoosh said no to is now being used to cover up a murder. And Lindsay's pissed. She's like, oh, I had that idea first. Now they're doing it for everyone. What do you mean? And because Josh and Lindsay are getting a divorce and, you know, anything goes once you separate, she decides to get close to Ashley to hopefully retrieve the video and use it against Josh. Josh, finding out the plan, decides to get close to Austin to also get his hands on the video and also use it against Lindsay. Knowing that Ashley had that emergency surgery and might have complications having kids in the future, she tells Ashley, hey, why don't we work the women together? You know, Ava's friend, cousin, whoever, is one of the best OBGYN in the country, and you can get anyone pregnant. And I can teach you how to work these women and get them to sign up for the premium packages. Great. And Josh asks Austin to give him a PT session, and he does. And we've reached the part of the story that I hate. Austin doesn't have a PT license. He is bullshitting his way, right? He's now in charge of rehabilitating an Olympic athlete. So Austin, without a PT license, has no choice but to use ChatGPT. And then in his session with Josh, Austin actually guides him through a hallucinogenic trip with the help of ChatGPT. I feel like certain things become part of history once they make their way into movies and series. Social media, internet, cell phones, like there was a time in place when those things did not exist in the plot because they weren't a thing. And then slowly they started getting incorporated. Now we have full-on text threads that show up on screen because it's what happens in real life. So the fact that unqualified people using ChatGPT to bullshit their way through a job, an interview, life, has now made its way into, of course, it had to be a fucking Netflix TV series, Kill Me. Someone grab their car, big van, and come run me over. Get a baseball bat, bash my face in. Eventually, though, and after spending the whole day together, both Lindsay and Josh confess to Ashley and Austin, respectively, so many names, that they approached them with ulterior motives of getting something from them, but now have realized they don't actually need it or want it. Neither of them wants the video. It all ends kind of well. And something interesting that Lindsay tells Ashley, when Ashley asks Lindsay why they've never had kids, Lindsay confesses that they actually did get pregnant once, but it didn't stick. And then they decided not to have kids because kids would be a temporary band-aid to the immense pain of knowing that you've chosen the wrong person. You're literally describing my parents. What the fuck? And that chairwoman, ooh, vicious. So it turns out Whoosh is the son of her ex-husband. And he tells her that the authorities have spoken to him and he hasn't said anything. But that might not be enough in the future. And then he mentions how he could be doing a lot more, like being vice president of something. And Chairwoman Park realizes that he's going to be a problem because now he's going to hold this over her head. So she says, yes, of course. And then later he's run over and killed. And then on his way back home and after speaking to one of the neighbors of Josh's and Lindsay's, Austin puts two and two together and realizes that it was probably Ashley who went to their house and left the door open, causing Burberry to die. Oh shit. The hour of separation. Austin and Ashley are now doing IVF, but he is put off by her. She's sort of morphing into a bit of a you know those rich people that are extra demanding for no reason? Yeah, that's her. And Ashley's getting ready to go to Korea with Ava and Lindsay, and she's so heartbroken that Austin isn't going with her. And she's needy as hell.
Can I have another one where I feel the love?
Sorry. Turns out Austin is planning to break up with her, but he can't bring himself to break up with her because he is a whiny little child who cannot face any negative emotions. He calls his mom, and even his mom is like, hey, she killed that fucking dog. Leave her now before you get trapped in the marriage with a kid. Keep bringing up my parents, man. Shut up. Eunice shows up and tells Austin that she's been investigating these invoices, and Chairwoman Park is covering up a death, and she thinks that's why Whoosh got killed. And she has Chairwoman Park's phone with her and wants to back it up. Problem is, she has to fly back to Korea. And if Chairwoman Park finds out that she's suspicious, she'll have Eunice killed as well. So Austin sort of volunteers to go with her to help out. So he ends up on the same flight as his fiancée Ashley, who just needs him close so bad. And on the other side of the same side of this capitalist coin, Josh decides to agree to all of Lindsay's demands in the divorce agreement because he's tired of fighting and he kind of loves her, and she thanks him, and takes the divorce agreement with her to sign on the flight. The flight from hell to an even bigger hell. Ava is married and ignored by her husband. Lindsay is about to divorce the husband that ignored her, and Ashley fears that Austin is ignoring her. These are three women who have lived in unhappy marriages, who have not received the attention they wanted and needed at three very different stages. You know, Ashley could either turn into Ava or Lindsay. Ironically, she might turn into Josh. Ashley is ecstatic when she sees Austin, but Austin continues being put off by Ashley's increasingly attitudes towards servers, especially. She's very demanding. Again, it's like she doesn't know where she came from. I fucking hate people that start at the bottom and then get to the top and act like they've never been in the bottom. Eunice is on this flight trying to back up the phone, but she feels like she's being watched. So she asks Austin to do the backing up instead. But he's like, well, I can't, because what would I say to Ashley? And Eunice is like, why don't you tell her the truth? And he's like, oh, nah, can't do that. And it's like, Austin, do fucking something. Do something. Pathetic excuse for a man. He is. He's so useless. Austin starts comforting Eunice like, no, you can do this. I believe in you. And she's like, I don't know what I'd do without you. You'd probably be doing the same things, Eunice. He's really not done anything for you. But guess what? Ashley walks in and immediately lunges at Eunice like, what do you mean you can't do this without him?
Come here, you flat-faced whore! Well, you can alert him that we've got a two-timing bastard and a home-wrecking hoe!
Austin and Ashley end up arguing in the bathroom, and Lindsay overhears the conversation and finds out that it was Ashley who left the door open and got Burberry killed. Now, I personally would have walked into that bathroom and I would have dragged her out. I would have murdered someone on that flight. I would have gone to prison. But Lindsay is petty, and instead of, killing her, decides to come up with a plan to get petty revenge. So back at their seats, Ashley now has the phone. Eunice is back at her seat, and she's like, I need the phone. And Austin's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I can't get it back. And Eunice is like, just get the phone from her. What do you mean? Again, Austin being useless. But worse than that, Austin confesses his love for Eunice. He's like, I love you. And she's like, well, you're still in a relationship, so let's calm down. And Ashley tells Lindsay about the phone and Austin and Eunice and blah, blah, blah. So Lindsay's like, no. Give me the phone. I'll handle it, and I'll go get you a drink, and you just sit back and relax. And she gets her a drink and rubs some toilet gunk on the glass and then flushes the phone. Like a fucking idiot. So when Eunice and Austin try and get the phone back from Ashley, Lindsay's there and she's like, just leave her alone, okay? Why is the phone so important? And they tell the truth. And Lindsay's like, well, fuck, I flushed the phone. Because I know that you killed Burberry, you evil cunt. And then she drinks out of the glass. They land, and they're dead nervous because the chairwoman wants her phone, but they don't have it. And Josh, who stayed back and went on a date, has a lovely date, and then is attacked. It will stay this way, and you will obey. A masked assailant tries to hang Josh and frame it as suicide, but he somehow manages to escape and kill the guy. He then tries to get Troy, his rich friend, to fly him to Korea, but he finds out pretty quickly that all the members now know that he's been stealing from the club and he's been iced out. So he finds his own way to Korea, except he's picked up by Chairwoman's henchmen. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew get to the hotel, and Eunice, knowing that her days are counted, gives Austin the USB and escapes. And that leads to a very tense and awkward dinner with Chairwoman Park and her husband, Dr. Kim. Lindsay, who had been trying to speak to Josh to tell him that it was Ashley who got their dog killed, finally speaks to Josh on the phone, who tells her that Chairwoman Park is trying to pin it all on them and that they can't trust anyone. The police has the invoices. She needs to find her way out. Except she has no one there to help her. Even Ava, the rich friend, ices her out, further highlighting that no matter how close they get to this circle, Josh and Lindsay are simply not part of it because they don't possess the same amount of wealth. They are there to serve, not to be friends with. Ashley receives a text that they found a viable embryo, and that's when Austin tells her he's no longer in love with her, he's in love with Eunice, and he wants to break up. And long story short, she tells him that he doesn't know if he's in love with Eunice, that grass is not always greener, and then begs him to just imagine them 10 years from then with a child and everything they've ever wanted, and to hopefully reconsider. And the day after, Austin can't find the USB. He accuses Ashley, who swears on their unborn child's life, that it wasn't her, and now all they have to do is act normal and hopefully get back home in one piece. Josh is also in Korea, like I said, and he is picked up by Chairwoman Park's henchmen, and Dr. Kim is in the car, and then Dr. Kim helps him escape, because Dr. Kim is planning to betray Chairwoman Park. He doesn't want to go to prison. So he's gonna pin it all on her. She's the one who's been doing the cover-ups, covering up a murder for a man that would throw her under the bus at the very first inconvenience. They're all taken to the clinic, and Lindsay, Austin, and Ashley are waiting in the waiting room when Dr. Kim comes and tells them to follow him. And then he tries to explain his plan, how Chairwoman Park is doing this, this, and that, but the only person who speaks Korean in the group, Austin, doesn't speak that well. He can't really translate all of what he's saying. And then Chairwoman Park and her henchmen show up, and Lindsay punches the old lady, and they all escape. And what ensues is a bit of a chasing scene. Dr. Kim gets shot in the head in front of them. They run out the building, and then they see Josh in the distance. And that's when they all get caught, and they're all taken into individual rooms at this clinic. Both couples deduce that the other couple is going to throw them under the bus, and they need to do it first. But then Josh and Lindsay have a heart-to-heart. They reminisce about the time they spent together and realize it wasn't wasted time. They don't regret the life they've built together, even if now they have to throw the young couple under the bus. Except Josh then requests a meeting for Chairwoman Park and says, "I'll make it easy. I'll take the blame for everything and I'll go down as long as Lindsay is safe." Austin and Ashley also speak, and he tells her that she has severe abandonment issues. He says, and I quote, "Every single action in your life is driven by the fact your mom and dad got divorced when you were a baby and started completely new lives without you." Well, joke's on you, buddy. I was not a baby, okay? F you. And Ashley tells him that, yes, she has changed, but people change. And maybe her shit stinks, but he doesn't know that Eunice's shit doesn't stink stinkier. You know, they really know each other. Hours later, Ashley gives him the USB because it was her that took it. It was her that hid it. But now she's letting go. She's finally giving him all the freedom in the world to go and be with Eunice and, you know, do all that. So he escapes and he runs away and gets into a car and calls Eunice and tells her, "I've got the USB. I've got all the evidence. I love you." She's like, "Great, thank you. Let me know when you get to the police station and I'll head over to you with the detectives. Thank you so much." And he's like, "Great, thanks. I broke up with Ashley. I love you." And she kind of reluctantly says, "Love you too, gotta go." And he's all smiles. He's like, she told me she loves me. But then his smile fades away. And he changes his mind. And instead, he goes to Chairwoman Park directly and he gives her the USB. I guess in that last moment, he realized that he thinks he loves Eunice, but he doesn't. You know, he's just chasing butterflies and rainbows and hopefuls. So Josh is arrested and Lindsay pushes past the barrier to give him a kiss, one last goodbye kiss, and we skip to 8 years later. Exact same start as the beginning of the series, except this time Ashley is the general manager with Austin, her husband, at her arm, and their fully grown child. They are now exactly where Lindsay and Josh were at the beginning of the season, and guess what? She's been working too much and he's also not happy. The only difference is these two have a kid. So these two are actually trapped and can never escape. Josh, on the other hand, adapted pretty well to life in prison and now he's being released, but he doesn't want to track down Lindsay and be with her. He's just happy that everyone he loves is happy. And Lindsay, who seemingly remarried her father and now has a child too, watches Josh's exit interview with a smile on her face and that horrible, horrible wig on her head. Was there any need? Just no. And it ends with a really cool shot showing Chairwoman Park in the middle. She's visiting her first husband's gravestone and she's expressing how much regret she actually has in life. And then all around her are all of these other stories that happen throughout the season because somehow they all connect to each other. And that is the end. Capitalism wins, true love dies, and people who have no morals succeed in life, which is pretty much what happens in real life. Capitalism is a cancer, and we are unwilling participants, unfortunately. Also, the system is the system, and nothing we can do will ever change the system. We just have to give into the system, offer our livelihoods to the system, and hope that one day it spits us out alive and well. Chances are it won't. But that was Beef Season 2. Guys, what did you think? Let me know in the comments down below if you've watched it or after hearing the recap. That happened, huh? Well, yes. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to leave it a like down below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That would be rude because it is free and it does help. And click that bell notification so you never miss a future upload from me. And until next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, and stay stuttering. Bye, guys.